Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll.
Bram Kassoon, absent. Johnson.
Here.
John Francois. Here. Summers, absent. Witt.
Here.
Kleiner.
Here.
Burr.
Here.
Massey.
Here.
President Rodriguez.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Approval of minutes.
We have two council minutes tonight, one for September 6th and one for September 13th.
I have a motion to approve both minutes.
So moved.
Alderman Kleiner, Alderman Johnson, all in favor? Aye. Correspondence.
Okay, we have correspondence from the Municipal Shelter Inspection Report from Ag and Marketing. This is for the Port Jervis shelter.
Received and filed.
We also received from the Middletown Walker Veterans Council about the itinerary for Veterans Day, and that's going to be on November 11th at 11 a.m. at the Middletown Elks Lodge.
Received and filed.
And we also received a lot line change for Cottage Street, Railroad Avenue, and this is for the Clemson Brewery.
Forwarded planning.
That is all for new business, for correspondence.
For the good of the city, anyone would like to address this council, please step forward.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'd just like to introduce ourselves. I'm a resident of Middletown, 26 years. Graduate of Middletown High School, and we're here just to visit and be part of this process. And we are an organization called Community Voices Heard, and we have a membership, and a lot of our members are low-income families, people of families of color. So I wish I could introduce every single one of them, but you guys want to stand up? ¿Quieren parar?
Good evening.
How you doing? Good evening.
So, thank you, and we're just here to see the whole process.
Thank you and welcome. Anyone else would like to address the council? Okay, reports of department heads. Jacob?
Good evening. We did go to New Orleans, the mayor, Alderman Massey and myself in there for the wastewater treatment plant exhibition. WEF, it's a major exhibition, about 28,000 people attended, and it was, people came from all over, literally from all over the world. We met with ESG over there, representative and our consultant, CDM, to go over the equipment that we're going to be using for the possible expansion of our wastewater treatment plant by adding more digesters and accepting additional outside waste from grease haulers. So we believe it was a very successful trip. Another thing, last week we had two raw water main breaks, 20-inch, the size of the water mains, and just a reminder that our infrastructure is old and really in need of a tremendous amount of investment still to keep it upgraded. The mayor will report to you about grants. I mean, the mayor has been very busy with applying for grants. We're all applying for grants. There have been some awards, so we're very happy with that. With that, if you have any questions for me.
Any question for Alderman Witt?
Thank you. Commissioner, have you yet determined at what point people can put yard waste in the street? They're still in receptacles now. Is there a time frame that you have in mind for that?
Yeah, that's usually when the leaf
Right.
pickup happens, and we will advertise that.
Okay, thank you.
It's going to be subjective when they start coming down. And so
But it's not yet.
not yet. No.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
Anyone else? Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you.
Corporation Council.
Good evening. You have before you tonight a resolution to authorize the mayor to sign the skate park contract. You'll notice that I added at the end, subject to the approval of Corporation Council. I'm working out a proposed rider with the skate park people just to address a couple of issues that I don't think were totally addressed in there, but I'm satisfied with the contract as a whole. It provides for, design, build, meetings with us. The final design is subject to the city's approval, and it does have a cap on the expenditures for the skate park, as we've talked about all along. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention and let you know that I believe it's in form ready to approve so that we can move forward on the project.
Any questions for Rich? Thank you, Richard. City Clerk?
I have nothing this evening.
Any questions for John? Thank you, John. Okay, Mayor?
No petitions, right?
No petitions, no grievance.
Well, good evening. Many of you had the opportunity to attend the DRI meeting this evening. That started at 5 o'clock, and that was with the Department of State and the DRI committee from the state. BFJ was the planning firm that was hired, and I wanted to thank all the members of the advisory committee, all local folks, either business people or representatives of organizations like the YMCA, Toro College, Dr. Young from SUNY Orange, and all the members of the committee for committing their time. This was going to be a 6-month process when it began in August, so they're anticipating wrapping up with a report in February to be presented to you and to the state for funding of the projects that we're looking at. Maria will be scanning in the book that was handed out to the committee members with the agenda and the DRI plan, and we'll be sending it to all of you by electronically within the next day or so, so you'll get an idea of the mission of the committee. Most importantly, we are asking for public input. So I think they made it very clear during the meeting that the most important part of the process is listening to the public on what they think we should be doing with the $10 million. So we can incorporate some of their ideas into the plan, into the final plan. So we'll be getting that out to you in the next day or so. You've also read about the $500,000 grant in yesterday's paper, and that was something that Chief Bethencourt had applied for earlier this year. It's going to require a 25% commitment from the city of for the funding of each officer over the 3-year period. I think it's going to be manageable for us to do based on some of our early budget presentations. So. Another grant that was successful and was announced last week was the $2.16 million, which is through Senator Schumer, and which is the 20,000 linear feet of sidewalks. The grant application, or when we submitted it through the Commissioner of Public Works, Jacob Tweel, we were focusing on the gateways into the city or into the downtown. The grant had a requirement for high pedestrian areas, so it's not primarily, I know we've had some calls from people, hey, I want new sidewalks in front of my house. I live on, Broad Street or Beatty Avenue or Ogden Street or whatever. But the grant is not for that. It's for high pedestrian areas. And what we were focusing on early was the area around Thrall Park, Wickham Avenue is the gateway of the city, the East Main Street, possibly connecting up to some of the pathways to the schools, so improving some of the street access to the schools. But it's 20,000 linear feet of sidewalk and curbing will be replaced under that grant, and the volume is $2.16 million. And lastly, I wanted to invite everyone to the budget presentations, and I believe our first meeting is tomorrow. Be the preliminary meeting, there'll be no action taken. It's just to review the budget as presented to the city treasurer, and we'll be scheduling a pretty active schedule for the month of October so that we can get through our rounds with our department heads and then start making some presentations to the full council. And lastly, I want to welcome Ignacio, I think, Acevedo and his club here this evening. I had a couple of meetings with them. They're, as he said, he's a graduate of Middletown High School, and they're becoming pretty active in the community to focus on agenda items that are important to their community, similar to what every other group does. So we're very excited to have them organizing, number one, and to have them here this evening and to participate in the community affairs. So I wanted to welcome them also and see if you have any questions for this evening. Any questions?
Alderman Kleiner?
Just quickly, because the treasurer isn't here, are the last two resolutions, the bond resolutions, it's a lot of money, but we explained that that's to cover
Yes.
we do have grants for those, so this is temporary. Is that my understanding? Is that correct?
Yes, the one project is I believe is the roundabout on County Route 78.
Right.
So there is a local match on that. This is not the entire local match, but I believe it's a 20%. Jacob, is that right? But we ended up, we're going for the state, right? On the, one of the other projects, and I believe it might be the second project there, these projects are 80% funded by the federal government. Jacob then applies for the state for a portion of the local share. So the local share is 20%, and we've been successful on one of the projects of receiving 15% funding from the state. So that project is 95% funded. The other project which is on here, which is the what I discussed at the DRI meeting, is the complete street concepts, where every traffic light in the city will be replaced. Those intersections will be made handicap accessible. They'll have pedestrian crossing lights where that are also adaptable with the audio, so for handicap accessibility, and sidewalk replacement at those intersections will be done. I believe our application, we've asked for at least 100 feet from each intersection to be included into the grant. I believe it's 26 or 27 lights. There may be only one light in the city that didn't qualify for the grant, and that's Lake and Wallkill, because it's not on the designated state or federal highway streets. So on the one grant, it's 95% funded, 5% local match. The other grant is 80% funded, pending an application for the state for 15% additional funding from them.
Okay, well, we just have to put up the money in the meantime, and then
We
we'll
are
get
going to have to put up the
reimbursed.
money, yes.
Yeah,
And
so
we have
that's
to put
what
the
this
money
is
up
about.
front, and Don is looking into whether, we don't think we're going to have to borrow the money, but we need to have a borrowing resolution
And that's
to
what I
make
wanted to
the
explain.
bookkeeping correct.
Good, thank you.
Okay? Any other questions?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Remarks of Alderman. Alderman Massey.
Good evening, everyone, and good evening, and thank you for coming tonight. We certainly appreciate it, and it's nice to see an involvement of so many people from the community. Mayor, I want to thank you on two things. Explaining the grant for the sidewalks, and the second one, more importantly to me, explaining the grant from the for the police officer grant, the $500,000. I've been receiving many calls from people who, once they saw that and saw that Middletown, quote, was hiring 4 police officers, my office is getting tons of calls, and I'm just asking the public, please, unless you've taken the police exam and are on the list, it won't do you any good to call, because you can't be considered unless you have taken that test and are on the list. And the second part of that is, we in the city of Middletown are not giving the police exam this November. We will probably give it next November, but I do believe that the city of Newburgh is, and I'm pretty sure that the county of Orange, you would have to check with them. But it won't do you any good because we are not giving it, and I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you, Mayor.
Alderman Burr.
Nothing this evening.
Alderman Johnson.
Just a couple of things. I want to congratulate everybody on the grant applications and their successful conclusion. It certainly does help keep our budget under control, and it helps to improve the quality of the city. I did have an opportunity to address the Supervisor of Wallkill's budget presentation. Yes, I do pay taxes in both municipalities. They're going to come in at 1.96, which is below their cap, which is about $109,000 less. So those of us in Wallkill that pay taxes appreciate that. And the supervisor did also, in his presentation, acknowledge our pending annexation and wanted to extend his greetings to the members of the Common Council for making that come to fruition. I did get to meet with the mayor and representatives of an animal welfare group about a month ago. We were trying to reinstate our trap, neuter, and release program, which has kind of fallen by the wayside. And I'm going to be working with the group from Helpers for Shelters. Council is reviewing the contract document. The funds have already been allocated, but in the interim, I will be working for the good of the city, so we've already started. We've done three cats. they're boys. That's a lot less kittens in the universe, and we appreciate that. Also, I included in your mailboxes the minutes from the meeting of the Community Affairs Bureau. That was last September. I find it interesting. Many people may not want to sit through those meetings, but just to give you an update, they did institute the social host law, and that first case was brought to closure. The family was fined $500, and there is also a community education program that they go through. Once again, this is a law put in place by the county that says if you have a party at your home and you have underage drinking, you as the owner or parent are held responsible legally for that activity. They also highlight a program called the Uncommon Athlete. This is an anti-bullying program, and there'll be a program during the school day at Middletown High School on October 13th. It'll be attended by apparently both Middletown and Monroe-Woodbury. This is a program put in place by the DA's office to try to look at athletes who are thought to be some of the leaders within the educational community to try to bolster the anti-bullying efforts. They also highlighted a program that started 2 months ago called League of Immigrant Affairs. This is a program that acknowledges the fact that many people in our community who may be illegal immigrants are reluctant to seek law enforcement if they're victims of crime. And the DA has tried to create a program that will extend opportunity to these people, predominantly through religious organizations, so that if they are victims of crime, they still have rights and they still have options. Also, a program I found to be particularly interesting is called the Video Camera Law Enforcement Portal. And this is a volunteer program put in place which says if you have a video camera, either of your place of business or your residence, you can register that program with the DA's office, that camera rather. Nobody would access the program or the camera without your permission. But in the case of crimes, as we now know from watching various things in the public arena, there may be a camera in a particular place that picked up something. And it's just another way to have eyes and ears. Once again, nobody will go into your camera without permission. But if you are registered, at least they have a list of people to say, this occurred at this location. We have 5 cameras in that area. Maybe somebody picked something up. I thought that was pretty cool. And lastly, they wanted to report that the Crimes Against Revenue, which basically looks at welfare and Medicare fraud, collected $1.2 million in the first half of 2016. So that's a lot of money that went back into the coffers of the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Alderman Witt.
Thank you very much. Piggybacking on what the mayor said about the DRI committee meeting, we probably had 30 or 40 folks from the community that came out, which was really good to see. Also, those meetings were taped and will be televised, so I would encourage folks to check Channel 20 and to watch that presentation and to follow it along. There's a pretty informative PowerPoint presentation on there that give you a pretty good idea what I guess the wish list, would that be accurate to say it? I would say so. Yeah, that, so it wasn't a super long meeting, but it will keep you up to date, and the plan is to make these meetings all televised and all public. So, there was interest there, and that was good to see. Also, our Second Ward constituents meeting is going to be next Monday, even though it is Columbus Day. Jerry and I are going to be here, so 7 o'clock. I'm sure we'll have our usual season ticket holders here, and anyone else who wants to come is more than welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderman Kleiner.
Thank you. Welcome the group from Community Voices Heard. I did attend one of their organizing meetings last year, and it was they do a tremendous job from what I saw of reaching out to the community and getting people involved. So I hope you stay involved and keep coming. If you're interested in voting in this year's presidential election and you're not registered, your last day to register in New York State is October 14th. So keep that in mind. You have another week or so. On Thursday, at 6 p.m. in Thrall Library, there will be a person, Erin Tobin. She's the director of the Preservation League of New York State, and one of the questions that we get asked a lot is my house qualify to be listed on the historical register? What is the historical register? And buildings and what are the tax implications. So she'll be speaking of that. That's at Thrall Library at 6 p.m. on Thursday, and I'm hoping to get answers to some of those questions for when people call the Historical Society. I'm not sure on our citywide watch meeting. I know we were usually skipping October, but people did want to have it, so that will be on October 11th, and I believe we will have it, but you can check the meetings calendar and make sure. I hope everyone stays dry with the hurricane heading towards us, but mostly, lastly, I'm not going to put this on, but for Wednesday night, for anybody watching, let's go Mets. Thank you.
Yeah. Alderman John Francois.
Yes, thank you. Good evening. I just want to remind everyone, this Saturday at 10 o'clock, we have our Fourth Ward constituency meeting here in this chamber. I just want to remind everyone, if you have any concern or issues, this is the time where we can take the opportunity to have a one-on-one conversation what's going on in the Fourth Ward. So please, 10 o'clock Saturday, join me in these chambers. Thank you.
Thank you. New business.
Okay, we have a resolution sponsored by Alderman Burr to authorize the treasurer to transfer a total of $12,000 from the general fund into the 2016 operating budget of the Middletown Rec and Park Department, excuse me, to pay for cleaning water damage from sewage that backed up into the Academy Avenue building.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Burr, second by Alderman Johnson. Any discussion? Roll.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Witt?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Burr? Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Burr to accept the proposal of Spone Ranch for the skateboard park.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Burr, second by Alderman Massey. Any discussion? Roll.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Witt?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Burr?
Aye.
Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman John Francois to approve the funding for traffic operations Stage 1 in the city of Middletown and for the mayor to sign all necessary agreements or certifications on behalf of the city.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman John Francois, seconded by Alderman Massey. Any discussion? Roll.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Witt?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Burr?
Aye.
Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman John Francois to approve the funding for the intersection improvements, which is the roundabout.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman John Francois, seconded by Alderman Johnson. Any discussion? Roll.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Witt?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Burr?
Aye.
Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey to authorize the treasurer to transfer a total of $28,722 within the Police Department 2016 budget to cover the shortage in salaries, costs of background physical, evaluations, uniforms, and police academy for the 3 new hire police officers.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman Johnson. Any discussion? Roll.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Witt?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Burr?
Aye.
Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey to authorize the treasurer to transfer a total of $18,000 within the DPW 2016 budget to cover the costs of the street department and to cover costs for overtime for the DPW office.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman Johnson. Any discussion? Roll.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Witt?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Burr?
Aye.
Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey to authorize the treasurer to transfer a total of $103,390 from the water fund for the emergency purchase of a 12-foot transfer pump, which is currently located in the Shawangunk Reservoir.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman John Francois. Any discussion? 12-inch.
12-inch, sorry.
Roll.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Witt?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Burr?
Aye.
Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey to approve the serial bonds for the traffic operations project for $486,000.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman Johnson. Any discussion? Roll.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Witt?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Burr?
Aye.
Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes. Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey to approve serial bonds for the intersection improvements for $1,360,000.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, second by Alderman John Francois. Any discussion? Roll.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Witt?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Burr?
Aye.
Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes. That's all for new business.
Okay, audit.
Just before I do the audit, I did forget one thing. This Saturday, assuming the weather holds out, at 1 o'clock, behind the junior high school field on Gardner Avenue, or Grand Avenue, excuse me, in Gardner, the firefighters have a football game against the police department. It's $5, and I believe the money goes, I think it's for breast cancer. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what the donations go for. Tommy, you?
I think this time it's going to a firefighter's wife that needs a kidney. Her
Okay.
last name is Atkins, so it's $5 entrance fee to get in, and whatever donation you would like to make also. Thank you.
Thanks, Tommy. All right, the audit. Mr. President, I move the accounts be audited, the claims be adjusted, and the city treasurer be authorized to issue warrants for their payment.
Resolution sponsored by Alderman Massey, seconded by Alderman Burr. Roll.
Johnson?
Aye.
John Francois?
Aye.
Witt?
Aye.
Kleiner?
Aye.
Burr? Massey?
Aye.
President Rodriguez?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.